Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a budget-ish Fire King deck profile post the release of the Fire King Courtier Ulcanix. So this is not going to be a Snake Eye build. It is going to be, like I said, budget-ish. There's definitely options that you can play to make it more budget. But in terms of like non-engine, if it's been in Rarity Collection, then it's going to be featured in the deck. And I have included some of the Megatin cards, which I think are like on the up and up. They're increasing in price. I grabbed mine at pre-sale, so they were actually fairly, well, not inexpensive, but cheap enough for me to get them. But yeah, so we'll talk about that, but there's definitely options to replace those for sure. So this is obviously the reason to play this deck is the Fire King Courtier Ulcanix. This card is crazy. It obviously destroys another fire monster in your hand or face-up field to add a fire, beast, beast warrior, or winged beast from deck to hand, which is essentially just Fire King Islands but on a monster, which is awesome. So it just gives the deck a whole nother set of 3 cards that allow you to just destroy things, which is often like, you know, the deck did have an issue kind of with like Ash on Fire King Island, for example. But this just gives the deck another like element of destruction to kind of get plays started. Of course, we're playing Avatar Kieran. This is just one of the nicest cards to have in your hand at any time, just for like targeting evasion and things like that. But it's just fantastic in all aspects. I'm playing 3 Ponics. You could potentially like cut this down to 2 in a build like this, but I'm just going for 3 just to keep things simple. And you don't complain to see Ponics in your hand for sure, but like you do run the risk of like bricking essentially on normal summons. But like the Ponics does have a free special if like you trigger the Ulcanix, so it's like it's not the end of the world for sure. Playing 2 of the big Garunix. I don't think you need 3. Like you could get away with 1. Like obviously, like when you see like the Fire King Snake Eye decks, they're playing like 1 of all of these except for like Kieran. But like 3 Ulcanix, 2 of this, and then like 1 of the rest. But like because this is like meant to feel a bit more pure, and we're not playing the Snake Eye cards, then yeah, we go 2 Garunix just because we don't mind seeing it. If it gets banished by something, then we still have another copy. And then we are playing 1 of the original Garunix to like pair with the Ulcanix. Funny is like when I read and like was like just doing like very early testing with Ulcanix, I didn't realize it was specifying this one, and so like I was like summoning this. I'm like, oh my goodness, this deck's going to be stupid. But yeah, that's not the case. You have to summon the brick. But I'm playing 1 of Avatar. I think I'd like to play 2, but just in terms of like space at the moment, I've gone for 1. This is a 40 card deck, so maybe like I just played 41. You could play a second copy, but yeah, I'm just playing 1 at the moment, and I am playing 1 Barong. It's cool if you've kind of like seen, like, because we're playing 3 of like the good ones. If you need your Garunix to like pop Barong, like you can do that, but most of them are actually like popping Avatar, but there's definitely lines where you like pop the Barong. We're then playing the 2 Sanctuary and the 2 Island. We are also playing 1 Skyburn, and I'm playing 1 Circle of the Fire Kings. I think this is just a cool card for recursion. It does destroy things like once you've got your graveyard set up, but it's pretty nice as well. So this is the part. It's like it's not exactly budget, but like it was not. Like I know, like when I picked it up, it wasn't super costly. It felt like, but so I'm just playing 3 Wanted, 1 Witch, and 1 Original. Like obviously you could play something like the Nadir Servant package, but it definitely limits and hinders your ability in the extra deck to play things. There's a world where you could even play like the Horus Engine. Again, not necessarily super budget. Like I'm not super knowledgeable on like pricing, but like I know that it was reprinted in the tins. We're not playing all of the tin cards. We're not playing 3 Witch, obviously. I will say, and the little funny story about this deck is, you know, I felt so excited. Like I finally picked up Wanteds and 1 Witch. I didn't even go for 3. And you know, I've picked up a small Snake Eye engine now as well, just to like, you know, try and play this deck at almost full power. And then of course the Azamina cards came out, and I just feel like I'm so outdated. I've just caught up, and I'm like super outdated again. And probably there's a ton of people that feel the same. Like, you know, finally these cards are reprinted and a bit more manageable, but now it's like I've got to shell out hundreds more dollars just to play Azamina cards, and I'm not prepared to do that just yet. But so yeah, I'm playing the Wanted engine. This just gives you more copies of Ponics. So that's why like you could definitely justify playing 2 copies of the Ponics itself, because you get a lot of other access to it with the wanted engine. But you could play things like 1-for-1, like Prosperity. Like there's cards you could definitely play in this place, like even just more non-engine. Like you could play more hand traps, more non-engine. Crossout Designator is not a terrible card like to play if you're playing heaps of non-engine, which we are. It's almost like an extender if it stops, if it prevents one of your opponent's hand traps, that's essentially, it may as well just be an extender. So yeah, there's definitely options for this spot if you are even more budget. But yeah. And then for non-engine, like again, this could just be whatever you want it to be. I'm just playing just hand traps. So this is Nib, Ash, Vela. I'm playing Talents, Goldby, Imperm. But yeah, this can just be whatever you want it to be. This is 16 spots. If you're not playing like the wanted engine, then that could be, there could be 3 cross out here. That could be 3 cross out. There could be a 1-for-1 and just like one other card. I don't know. But and like you'd change these out for more hand traps if you were playing like cross out, just to like cover more ground. But yeah, that's the main deck. So it's I want to say it's 40 cards. And then for the extra deck, playing the Garunix, because we're playing pure, we're not ever really getting rid of the Sanctuary, so Garunix is always kind of an option that we have. Also playing like Zombie Vampire just as like a just in case kind of button. This could be like a Hope Harbinger, it could even be like a Dingus. Like these are all things that I've like considered to play. Could be a Link Monster, it's just an option. Because we've got space, I'm playing like Typhon as well. And then for the rest of it, I've got Goddess. This is like, again, not necessarily like budget, but you could play like Access Code Selene, like in this spot if you needed to, but I'm playing like Zealantis and Raging Phoenix. I know Raging Phoenix is a little bit more expensive. This is Ambler Whale. I used to have a stack of copies of this, but a while back I gave a whole heap of bulk to a guy, and yeah, obviously I don't have that anymore. But anyway, Princess and the Sunlight Wolf, Heater, Phoenix. This is an SP, but obviously it's not like super budget, but this could be something else like a Unicorn. Is fine as well. IP, Anima, and Almirage. Almirage is cool. Like it kind of comes up in like certain situations. Like you don't necessarily have to play this either. Like this and Zombie Vampire are like massive flex spots. They could be other things. But like this you can link off Ulcanix for Almirage. Obviously Ponix can be linked off, but also you have Anima. But also just keeps a fire on the field. So sometimes that's relevant. But yeah, that's the extra deck. And then I'll show one combo with Ulcanix and then we'll do some test hands. Okay, so this is a baseline combo. This is just one like everyone should know, and you've probably seen this a bunch. Like it's all over YouTube, I think already. But it's just like normal summon Ulcanix, pop any fire. I'm just going for Ash just because it's just not an extender or anything. And go for Ponix. The Ponix will trigger to summon, and it will get you the Sanctuary, which will get you in turn the island. Now we can go for the Fire King Island. We can pop the Ulcanix to search for Garunix. We can go Ulcanix 1, Garunix 2, so Garunix will summon and Ulcanix will summon out the other Garunix, and then we'll get the Sacred Viking Garunix's effect to pop the Avata from the deck, which will trigger its effect to pull back a Viking, which is going to be the Ulcanix. So now with our 4 bodies, we're going to just like do a bit of like consolidation. We can get kind of nibbed through this combo for sure, but yeah, our opponent doesn't have it, so it's all good. We can take 2 of our monsters, and we're going to link off into... we do have choices, so we can go for Sunlight Wolf or IP Masquerena. These are like the 2 big choices. I find that if I've ended up with a Kieran somewhere in the graveyard, I'll often go for Sunlight Wolf if I've got like no access to get to Kieran otherwise. But yeah, Kieran's one like I do kind of prioritize getting to the hand. So if I have had to like pop a Kieran to get to this point, then like if the Ash was a Kieran, then I might probably go like Sunlight Wolf and then go Ponix into Anima to bring back the Kieran to hand. But otherwise you can go for IP just to get like an additional interruption. So we'll go the IP line here. And then you can take your 2 monsters, so IP and just a guy, to go into Princess. So your opponent does have to Nibiru you at this point, because otherwise you're going to go Princess, bring back the Avata, and then you can take the Princess and the Ulcanix and go into Ambler Whale. And that's pretty much where we're ending off. So we obviously have the Princess in the graveyard. We've got the Garunix in the graveyard, And when the Ambler Whale is popped, we do get to get access to IP Masquerena as well. So just for like further interruptions. So there's kind of a lot going on in the graveyard in particular. So it looks kind of tame, but it's pretty good. And then like once you kind of continue to play, like once the Garunix comes out, it will pop something from the deck. So it will usually be popping a Kieran, and the Kieran can activate to revive something and destroy something as well. So from here, like if you want to like get the Sanctuary live, you could definitely go for like the Garunix as a level 8. Yeah, and then you can overlay for the big Garunix and nuke the board. So like there's actually like a lot of interruptions, even though it like maybe looks a little bit more subdued. But that's kind of like the main combo with Ulcanix. And now I'll just do some test hands and kind of show where the deck can go from there. Okay, so we'll do a couple of test hands and then call it a day. So for first one, we've got Island, Ulcanix, Garunix, Avatar, and Ash. So in terms of like non-engine, it's not ideal. I've got a lot of engine in the hand. So I don't mind in this example, just to kind of solidify, just protect our board, we can actually afford to go normal summon Avatar and then go for Island. So we could go for Island to destroy Ulcanix. And this is where like we're gonna run into a small problem where we can't trigger 2 hand effects at the same time. So potentially we add Ponix here, just to kind of, we can get Sanctuary through adding the Ponix, but then we can trigger the Garunix to summon, and the Garunix can use its effect to pop from the deck. And what we can do is go ahead and pop Kieran. Kieran will then bring back Ulcanix. I feel like I've missed something here. Hang on, what did I miss? When Island popped Ulcanix, of course, we get to get out the big Garunix. Sorry, that's what we missed. Just important for extra bodies. So then Kieran can summon back Ulcanix. And what we can do is we can pop the Ash to search. We can add a Kieran just so we've got it in the hand. And then we can actually trigger the Ponix to summon. And the Ponix can search. So if we want to have Sanctuary, we can get Sanctuary. If we would rather have like Skyburn, we can grab Skyburn. But we'll go for Sanctuary. And we just won't use the effect to place. Now, because we've already got Kieran in hand, we can do we'll go for like the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf play. So we'll take our Ponix and our Ulcanix. No, sorry, we keep the... Well, actually, because we've got extra bodies, it doesn't really matter. So we can take our 2 and make Sunlight Wolf. We can take our other 2 and make IP. We could have like made a rank 8 if we really wanted to, but we're going to get Sunlight Wolf here to add a card back. And we can obviously go between like Ponix or Ulcanix. I'm probably going to add back the Ponix just so we've got something that we can just pop with the Kieran for free and get it back at any point. And we can take these and go into Princess. And we're just going to revive something to get into Ambler Whale. Doesn't really matter too much what we bring back. And we've got Ambler Whale. So it's the same kind of end board, except like in the hand. And when we went Sunlight Wolf pop to pop Ash, we could have actually added the Ash back instead of the Kieran. But I think having Kieran in hand is pretty good too. Yeah, so it's the same kind of end board. It looks fairly tame, but again, we've got like the Kieran in hand can just help facilitate extra destruction if need be. We do have the Ponix in hand that we can destroy with the Kieran if we wanted to. Otherwise, this will just trigger if I go like Kieran on Ambler Whale, for example. And the Ponix could summon. Avatar can always negate something by popping like the Ponix, and like there's just a lot of destruction-based things going on. The Princess obviously is going to come back at some point, which will trigger the Garunix to come back and pop from the deck as well. The Ambler Whale, when destroyed, can do its thing as well in the graveyard. So like there's a lot of interactions going on, and then at any point like we obviously threaten a big Ulcanix also. So that's kind of what I like about the deck, is that like, yeah, it does look tame, but like once things get rolling, there's actually quite a lot of interaction your opponent kind of has to deal with, and none of it feels like, I don't think any of it really feels too like overpowered. So I don't know, it's really strong and really resilient for sure, but I don't know, it also kind of like seems fair. We'll do one more. So we've got the Avatar again, the Diabellstar, the Talent, Veiler, and the Ulcanix. Okay. So again, there's a situation here where we could actually just normal summon the Avatar. We get access to Ulcanix through Diabellstar, and we can kind of keep the Ulcanix in hand as a negate just to kind of insulate those hand traps. So we could actually go normal summon the Avatar, and now we could summon out the Diabellstar. We're going to keep the Ulcanix, so we're just going to get rid of either the Talons or the Veiler oh sorry, what am I doing? That summons, and we set the original. Which we can go ahead and use to get rid of Diabellstar and summon out our Ulcanix. Ulcanix will trigger to place Sanctuary, search Sanctuary, and then Sanctuary's effect will get Island. From here we can go Island to pop. We can choose to pop the Ulcanix on field or like the one in hand. It doesn't really change too much. So we'll go for the one in hand. We know that it's going to come back in the next standby phase. But we'll get Ulcanix. We can summon at the Ulcanix. We can use the Ulcanix to pop the Ulcanix from the deck, which will trigger its effect to summon the Ulcanix. Okay, so from here, we can take two monsters, turn them into IP Masquerena. We can take IP and Ulcanix and turn them into Princess. Princess can revive like Ulcanix, but we don't get any value from using the Ulcanix effect just because we don't have a fire in our hand. So it is what it is. If there was like a loose fire somewhere, we could have done that, but otherwise we're just going to bring back something to, again, go for Ambler Whale. So like we're getting pretty consistently to this like this end board. Obviously in this standby phase we will get the Ulcanix to add back to the hand, but yeah, and then we do have like a lot of the same interactions in the graveyard. We can use the Wanted effect. Oh no, so that's not that's with Wanted. Sorry, it's not with the original. So we got that for later. But yeah, so similar thing going on here as well. So Avatar can obviously pop the Ulcanix at any point, or once we do pop something, the Ulcanix can trigger to summon out and search more, like follow up for next turn or more interruption. But otherwise, I'll leave that one there. That's what we'll do for Pure Fire King. I do want to kind of have a little go at a Fire King Snake Eye deck profile without the Azamina cards, because I'm sure there are people in a similar position to me where maybe they've like caught up a little bit with the meta, but then, you know, just taken another big step backwards with the Azamina cards. But that'll be it for this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.